right, Mike, you did some fine work once again, tiering quarterbacks or having a bunch of unnamed coaches and executives do so. What did you learn from it, Mike?
I think we're seeing, Rich, to where more and more of these guys in the top tier and even the top 2 tiers kind of have the ability to beat you off platform, off schedule. I was just looking at this is the 10th time I've done quarterback tiers, and when you go back to the first time, it's Brady and it's Peyton Manning and Breeze, right? And that was really what the tier 1 quarterback was. And I think you still have to be able to do those things. You still have to be able to win as a passer from the pocket, but so many more of these guys to really get into the top, they have something else they can do when the play breaks down. And so I think that's one thing. And then, just Russell Wilson's fall is interesting and more than just a 1-year thing. I was just looking at it now. It's really a 4-year. This is the 3rd year in a row that he's fallen. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, walk me through that one, the Russell decline, if you will.
So
Mike.
2020, he's unanimous tier 1 going into that season, 50 votes, all tier 1. And the next year it's 40 in tier 1. The next year it's 15. So that's even going into last year before the debacle in Denver, and now it's 0. So, I think he's clearly lost some of that dynamic athleticism that we were talking about that can help, separate some of these guys. And now you're just kind of hoping that Sean Payton can stop the bleeding and make him at least be efficient again, so that he can be maybe in those top 2 tiers somewhere, as opposed to really tier 3, your, Jimmy Garoppolo and Geno Smith and Ryan Tannehill and Mac Jones are in there. And that's what, unfortunately, he may be closer to that than what he was.
The thing that I went in on prior to your calling in, Mike, is I don't know how Jalen Hurts after last year doesn't get tier 1 status unanimous. I don't know how people are looking at him and saying, well, he still has this hole or that hole, or the only hole I saw on Super Sunday was the ball coming loose when he's trying to run, that one unfortunate turnover. And unfortunately for him, we were robbed seeing him in a game-winning 2-minute situation by a penalty flag that will, leap out every single time we talk about last year's Super Bowl. I don't get that. What did you glean from the conversations about Jalen Hurts?
Well, I mean, some of these guys, it's where you're coming from. The first year he was in it, he was 30th, then he was 20th, and now he's 6th. So I don't think there's any disrespect in being at the top of tier 2 and just saying, okay, you had a great year. Have another great year, and you can come in to the top group, which has Mahomes and Burrow and Allen and Rodgers and Justin Herbert. That would be the debate, right? Some people have said, well, wait, what makes Justin Herbert be in tier 1 and not Jalen Hurts? And I just see this as a snapshot in time that Jalen Hurts will be there if he has another good season. Typically, it takes more than one really bad year to just throw you all the way to the bottom, or more than one really good year to throw you all the way to the top. From 20 to 6, that's pretty good.
Now, I know I just so many, Sundays I'm sitting on game day morning on NFL Network, and we usually put Kurt Warner in this situation because he's the quarterback on the set. Mike is just like, which quarterback would you choose today? And I look at the Philadelphia schedule: at New England, home for Minnesota; at Tampa, home for Washington; at the Rams; at the Jets, home for Miami; at Washington, home for Dallas. That's the first few weeks. Jalen Hurts would pretty much win the conversation as which one would you take today. And then we finally, maybe at the Jets and Rodgers week 6, depending on how Rodgers looks the first 5 weeks of the season, you might take him. And then we arrive at Kansas City, home for Buffalo, when rubber, I guess, would meet the road as to whether he's a tier 1 quarterback. And the rest of it, you take him every single time. And to me, that is a message as to whether he's tier 1 or not. That's the way I would.
Well, but you basically said I would take him over all the quarterbacks except the ones that are in tier 1.
Well, I would maybe take him over them. I just need to see. I say it's still a conversation, which means he's on par.
Yeah,
is the way I would push back on that.
Right there on the edge. I think the other guys, you would have an easier time putting all of your money on them because they're more established in tier 1. And Josh Allen went through the same sort of thing. He had a great climb. He's the only guy who's been in this thing for at least 5 years and improved every year. Jalen Hurts may do that as well. but there was a year there where he was at the top of Tier 2. Then he did it again, and he got in. Lamar Jackson went to the top of Tier 2. He didn't do it again. He didn't get in. He's still high Tier 2, but he didn't kind of prove it. So I think it's really that's all it is. Is no one's saying that he's not going to be there, but do it more than 1 year. And I think for some of these guys and some of these teams, you have a great situation. You have the best offensive line. You have a great scheme. You've got a top 10 defense. You've got maybe one of the 5 best owners. Maybe you've got one of the 5 best GMs. All of those things go into it as well, in addition with Hurts, with where he started out, right? So you have to, when you come in lower, it probably takes you a little bit longer. Remember this discussion with Russell Wilson. Wasn't it the absolute high pick? Probably takes him a little bit more to win everybody over, and I think that's what we're seeing with Hurts. And I don't think it's necessarily just overly disrespectful to him. I think he'll get there with another good year.
Mike,
you'll put him in there and say, yep, we know for sure we'll take him.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.